All right. Hi, everyone. Final class. I suppose it's not really a class in the sense that I'm normally lecturing for you. Rather, as the title suggests, it is a wrap up and discussion. Um, so, I guess a couple things to start off with. The grades for your essay proposals have been released. Um, so, you should all be able to see that. And I just want to reiterate that the idea here is to now take your proposal, take your feedback, etc. Um, all of the comments, all of the suggested edits, all of the suggestions for sources, if we've made any, etc., etc. Take all of that and rewrite the proposal so that it becomes the start of your essay. So rewrite it so it sounds less proposal-y and more essay-like. That's your task over the exam period. The other thing is just a reminder that the second reflection assignment is due today at 11:59 p.m. So I imagine most of you are going to be focused on that before you get started on your essay. Heck, you could probably even give yourselves a day or two to just have a break from everything, right? And then clear your mind, rest up a bit, then look at your proposal feedback, get to work on turning that into your essay. Um, Otherwise, I'm going to treat this as a sort of, ask me anything kind of thing. Not anything, but ask me anything related to anything in the class. This could be about the essay, right? This could be about something we've learned. This could be about future directions of study for you if you're interested in some, particular thing that you learned about this term and you want to learn more about it. You can ask me about that. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't have any solid plans for this lecture. So go ahead if you've brought any questions or anything with you. Now's the time. You can jump in the chat or um, get on the microphone. Samuel, go ahead.
Yeah, so um, something I wanted to ask about. Uh, I took a look at my proposal feedback, um, and I'm looking into like the question of whether or not a machine can have a mind.
Hmm.
But part of what the feedback came with, it asked whether I'm looking at it in terms of phenomenal consciousness or cognitive consciousness. And I can't
Hmm.
say I was focusing on a specific one. I was just wondering if you can tell me the difference, just to maybe, and
Yeah,
if you
sure.
recommend which one to focus on.
It sounds like I don't know who left your feedback, but it sounds like the TA uh, is asking you to clarify when you ask, can a machine have a mind? Are you asking, can it think? That would be the cognitive side of things. Or can it
Okay.
experience, which is the phenomenal consciousness? Or could a machine potentially or conceivably do each of those things? And so, yeah, that's something that I would kind of clarify for the final paper. You could say, I am just talking about machines thinking, kind of like in the vein of like Turing and Putnam
Yeah.
or their opposition, which would be people like Searle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so if you're talking about that, I would put a little I would dedicate maybe a short paragraph to saying, look, when I say have a mind, I mean think.
Yeah.
And we need to I think we need to take care to distinguish between thinking as cognition, like information processing, and
Hmm.
subjective consciousness, especially because nowadays with AI, a lot of people think AI means like if we get artificial general intelligence or strong AI, a lot of people think that would mean, oh, consciousness. Well, no, artificial intelligence and artificial consciousness are two different things. So it might
Hmm.
be beneficial to the reader and make your essay a bit more, like give your essay a bit more punch if you introduce this distinction and then specify which one you're going to be focusing on.
Okay, yeah. I think with the research I've been doing so far, I've definitely been leaning into the cognitive side of it. So, like
Yeah.
I have been using Turing, Searle, Putnam as well. So those have been my primary sources for this. So yeah, I think it's definitely the cognitive
Yeah. And
portion.
another reason it would be good to make this distinction is because, it just struck me that Turing actually does make this equivocation, right? You notice that in his
Hmm.
paper. Um, and so you can say, like, even though Turing talks about, machines enjoying the taste of strawberries and cream or something, right? Or that they could
Hmm.
never do that. You can say, like, well, Turing's kind of talking about both. I'm talking about the thinking, not the
Right.
the feeling, if you like. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure I knew what the difference is and I'm not going off track by any standard. But yeah, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem, no problem. All right. Anybody else? I hope somebody has some questions. Okay, good. Josh, go ahead.
I actually have a couple questions. The first one is related to also feedback um, from the proposal.
Hmm.
In my feedback, um, it says in my references list, it says follow APA format. I used MLA format. Are we
Oh,
required to use APA or are we allowed to use
no,
the other
no,
ones?
that sounds like a maybe a misunderstanding on the TA's behalf because
Okay,
I did specify you can use whatever one you want. Yeah.
okay, yeah, because they just made a comment saying follow APA, which I did MLA, so it was
Yeah. No, MLA is fine.
okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so no worries
Um,
about that.
and then what was my other? Oh yeah, so for the assignment due today, I've been mainly talking about machine functionalism. However, I read the outline again and it said it shouldn't be too closely related to my final essay. Is do you think it's closely related if it's about machine functionalism when I'm talking about mind uploading?
Um, no, I think you're probably fine. Um, I think you're fine. I think in this case, what I would do, I would look at your second reflection assignment as a sort of, you're kind of getting your hands dirty. You're getting into the ideas behind machine functionalism, and you're doing something a little different. It sounds like from the essay, or
Okay.
in the essay, where you're saying you're going beyond just functionalism and you're looking at a completely different question, but maybe functionalism is your springboard to get
Yeah,
there.
it's a
So,
part of it.
yeah, I basically, if your essay were about whether machine functionalism is correct, like if it was just a
Yeah.
longer version of your proposal or your reflection assignment, then I would be like, whoa, add something else. But the mind uploading is sufficiently something else, I think. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, thanks.
no problem. All right. What else? What else? What else? What else do we have? Okay. I hope you're able to get those dogs wrangled. In the meantime, I'm trying to think if anything else I can offer in terms of advice that I haven't already done. Well, I think I've given pretty exhaustive instructions in the essay writing lecture, but one recommendation I have is before you set to work turning your proposal into your essay or the start of your essay, it might be a good idea to re to rewatch that lecture, or at least the parts of it that deal with the essay, as a refresher. Oh, totally, Holly. Yeah. I think it looks like we're probably going to end early. I don't I this I'm not trying to put you all on the spot, like ask me questions, but if I don't get enough questions, I'm not going to wait around for another 3 hours, right? So we'll probably end early and we can have a little meeting. But yeah, Holly, go ahead. Do you have a question now?
I have tons of questions, but because I've been sick, like I actually just came home from the hospital.
Oh, good. Well, glad you're not in the hospital any longer.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty great. My dog's just like freaking out. Oh my God, I thought you were dead forever. But it's because I've had to miss two lectures and I'm behind on the reading. So my questions, like you've probably covered in the lectures, which I'll be able to watch now. So I'm gonna just hang off on my questions and then talk to you about my situation after, if that's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. Oh, but that also reminds me, one of the things that I will be doing over the exam period is keeping an open door policy, or open door, air quotes. What I mean by that is I'm not physically present in Ottawa at the moment, but if at any point you're stuck on something and you need to talk to me, send me an email, and if necessary, we can set up a meeting over Zoom, or we can just chat over email, whatever you want to do. But if you run into any problems at all, I'm going to make myself as available as I can. I am going to be doing a little bit of traveling back and forth between, well, North Bay and the middle of nowhere, where my parents are. I've got to go out there. I've been helping my father out um, because he just received a pacemaker. So I've been helping him just kind of get his place straightened out. Sorry if this is too much information, but I will be out there. The internet connectivity is not the best, but other than that, I will be making myself as available as possible. Um, so take advantage of that open door policy. So I think Liam is next, and then Joshua.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so on this is a question as to a comment on my proposal.
Okay.
So I have like a thesis question, can a computer be equivalent to a person? And they asked me to make that more precise, to be
hmm
more specific. Could like saying can a computer be a mind be more specific, or do I need to be more specific than that?
I would frame this in the same sort of terms that Turing did, right? I would ask, can a machine think? And if you want to get more specific, you could say, can a machine think like a human? Can a machine ever exhibit human-like intelligence, perhaps, is one way to put it.
Okay.
Or or could we make a machine that is as intelligent as a human? Because there is a possibility that maybe our minds are not Turing machines, and so we think and computers think, but maybe we do so in very different ways, right? So those are a couple of options to make it more specific. And then, of course, just to reiterate, for everybody, not necessarily for you, when you have your question, you also want to tell the reader your answer right
Yeah.
away, right? And that's going to be your thesis. So, yeah, I would say make it a little more specific in terms of, it's not just like a human, but uh, can it think? And it's good to borrow, from the literature, ask questions in the same style that perhaps, that thinkers like Turing have and that Putnam have, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that would be
Okay.
my advice.
So I want to address more than just thinking, also like consciousness and understanding. So
Mm.
would I say can like my question be can a computer think, understand, and be conscious similar to that of a human?
Yeah,
Would that be specific enough?
I would do something like this. I would say, in this essay, I will answer the question, can a machine have a human-like mind? And then I would say, by human-like mind, I mean not simply capability of thought, but perhaps also capability of feeling and acting in the world. Maybe something like that, right? And then after that, you'll tell the reader, I will argue yes or no or possibly or whatever it is you want to try and convince the reader of, right?
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem. All right, Josh is next. Josh, by the way, do you prefer Josh or Joshua?
Yeah, I usually go by Josh, but it doesn't really matter.
I'll go with Josh. I'm a Josh guy as well.
Yeah.
I prefer Josh, and I know I've been saying Joshua just so it doesn't sound like I'm saying my own name, but yeah, I'll call you
Okay.
Josh.
Okay, so I was gonna ask if not necessarily now, probably definitely not now, but in the future, coming days, would it be possible for you to look over my proposal and give me potential sources I could use? Because I've been looking for different sources, but a lot of them I either couldn't access because Carleton wasn't like registered
Oh.
on their university list,
Right.
or they just weren't really talking exactly about what I was trying to get at.
Right.
And the TA didn't say any sources, so I was wondering if you could look over it.
Yeah. What's the topic of your? I mean, I will look over it, and please send me an email reminder as
Yeah.
well to remind me to do this. But what is the topic of your paper, and what kind of
Um,
sources are you looking for?
so it's about like whether or not you can upload a person's mind while maintaining their personal identity. And
Mm,
so what I'm looking for is sources that both support and deny the claim so that I can like say if I agree with it or not, or sort of look at it critically, that kind of
yeah.
thing.
Um. So right off the top of my head, the Oxford Handbook of Ethics in AI, it has chapters on this very topic.
Okay, cool.
I would also check out um, the Oxford Handbook of the Self, which deals more with the personal identity side of things. But it's got a chapter by Derek Parfit that I think you might find helpful. Parfit's talking in terms of these interesting thought experiments, like the transporter thought experiment or
Yeah,
mind
I've heard
uploading.
of that one.
So I would start with those two. I mean, they're just handbooks, but the chapters will be very helpful. And I
Okay.
know that you can access them digitally via the Carleton Library. And then as far as additional sources go, I would check out the primary sources that are cited in the chapters that you find helpful. And that would be Parfit's chapter in the Handbook of the Self. I would check out Mark. Maybe I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the chapter in the Handbook of AI, but it's titled something like "Should you upload your mind to a computer?" You'll see it if you take a look through the table of contents. But I
Right.
think those would be great places to start. And if you send me that email reminder, I'll read over your proposal and I'll see if I can make any other recommendations as well.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No problem. Samantha,
Hey, hi.
hello.
Um, I have Murphy. It's fine. Right, Murphy. It's fine. I have more question about the reflection assignment two.
Sure.
So I'm focusing on like the mind body problem, and I'm mostly exploring non-reductive physicalism. But since we've been talking about consciousness this week, and we talked about Mary's room as well, I was just trying to figure out like how to bring in consciousness in this. Like,
Mm.
is consciousness of the mind? Is it of the body? I was on here on Monday, but I haven't had a chance to watch yesterday's lecture yet. So I just wanted to get like a sense of maybe a more of a pointed direction I could go into.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
I had it all laid out as mind body, but then consciousness kind of got into my
yeah.
little hamster
Uh,
and wanted to explore that a little more.
right. I think there might be something in that second lecture on consciousness. Pay attention for stuff on the hard problem, like toward the end of
Okay.
the lecture, because I won't give it all away now, but the hard problem of consciousness is really just another formulation of the mind-body problem, right? And it's the question of how physical processes that are going on in the brain that we can objectively observe, how does this give rise to subjective experience? And
Right.
that's another iteration of the mind body problem. And so if you're talking non-reductive physicalism, um, I mean, it sounds like you're leaning toward a sort of property dualism or a dual aspect theory, which is what Chalmers does, and who actually articulated the hard problem.
Yeah.
So that if you want to squeeze in some discussion of consciousness and tie that all up with non-reductive physicalism and the mind-body problem, yeah, it sounds like talking about the hard problem would be the way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
just on a first, like an elevator pitch, boom, that's my advice, right?
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And then, okay, circling back to the essay, I did review my proposal feedback as well. I've been working on APA, but like as an engineer, like IEEE has been what I've been using for years, and I've not been doing well with APA for the
Yeah.
last two assignments. So can I just go back to IEEE and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that?
totally. You like I said, if you're if you want to use a different thing, like I recommend APA because I it's fairly standard. I know it, but if you want to use IEEE, yeah, that's 100% fine.
Okay.
No problem. No problem at
Okay.
all.
It's just, yeah, it's just easier for me than rather than learning a whole new
Yeah.
system.
Well,
Okay.
the important thing is just that things are getting cited when they need to be cited. I don't care how you do it. It's more important to me that people aren't plagiarizing or they aren't making citation mistakes. If you're going to make fewer mistakes using IEEE or ideally no mistakes at all, then yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and use it, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's, I have just been struggling with it. So I'd rather just use what I'm comfortable with. Okay.
totally fine.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, you're welcome. Let's see. Any other questions? I worry this will be this will this will wrap up is what I'm trying to say a lot sooner than I thought. At least like to go for an hour at least. So let's see. Well, pretty much everybody's asked me a question except who hasn't asked me a question? Leo and May. Maybe you don't have any questions though, and that's okay as well. Oh, thanks, Holly. Um, yeah, sometimes I worry, what if I'm too animated? What if I'm too silly? What if I'm too unprofessional? But I I don't know. I just honest to goodness, I just get excited about this. So I'm glad that the discussion was stimulating. What was my favorite unit in this class, Liam? Good question. I suppose machine functionalism and causal theoretical functionalism. Um, I also like consciousness, but I'm not sure I like the way Kim does it. I mean, I would probably do it a different way. Then again, I'd probably do the discussion on functionalism differently too. Um, yeah, so I would say, yeah, I like the unit on functionalism. I like the unit on consciousness. I also really like the stuff on the mind-body problem because Descartes is, like I've said many times, right? Descartes is one of those thinkers where I disagree with a lot of what they say, but he's just such a good writer and such a good thinker that it's always fun to do some Descartes, right? But I'm glad you all found the discussion great. And by the way, your contributions to the discussions were great. Um, it's a heck of a lot more fun teaching an online class now post COVID because I've kind of adapted or adopted the Zoom meeting approach. Right when COVID was when we were full blown into the pandemic, I was just pre-recording lectures, and I realized, well, I'm making all right videos, but I don't know if this is the best way to teach. So when we're interacting with each other and talking with each other, I think we all get the best, we all get the most out of this and we all have the best experiences. So I want to thank all of you for that too. Um, no questions for Leo, no problem, no problem. And May's working on their reflection. Okay, fair enough. Um, geez, oh, we're not going to get to an hour, are we? Oh,
I mean,
Samantha, another question?
I'll just it's more of a like a feedback. I will say like I'm taking this course as an engineer as, a complementary studies elective. It's not something that is in my wheelhouse, generally
Hmm.
speaking. My interest in this course was more I have a 2-year old daughter. She's fantastic. So for me, it was more understanding like the mind and how it develops, kind of
Oh,
give me an intro
interesting.
to that.
Yeah,
And that's what my essay is about too. Like, what is the child's mind?
right.
But I will say, I've never really had an interest in reading anything about philosophy. But now that I've been in this course, I've borrowed books from the library and I've read through full books on philosophy of childhood and philosophy of the
Awesome.
child's mind. And I,
Nice.
I literally could not put it down. So like it's
I
definitely
love it.
expanded my learning, I suppose, and how I think a little bit more and how she thinks and understanding her world a little bit more. So this class has
Yeah.
been very beneficial to me outside of just being a class.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I'm really glad to hear that. And yeah, I think, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I get the sense that, when you have a child and you watch them sort of develop, it must be natural to sort of start asking questions about the nature of the mind. And I'm really glad that you've taken an interest in philosophy. I've said this before. I think engineers make pretty good philosophers, actually. Um, Ludwig Wittgenstein, who we talked about in this class, began his educational journey as an engineer. Um, just incidentally, and like Liam says, it looks like there's some good psych course child development stuff. So if you want to keep learning about the mind, there's not only philosophy, but there's also psychology courses, and there's a lot of overlap. But it's really great to hear that you're reading those books and liking what you're reading. So that's great. I love that for you, and I hope you
Yeah.
continue.
I was looking at taking a supplementary because I have a couple of like I don't have a full course load this coming year, and I was looking at taking a philosophy course as a supplemental course just for interest sake. But the philosophy of cognitive science and the childhood development philosophy course they're not offered this year. So
Oh no. Well, there might be
yeah,
something that maybe there's something else that's interesting. I mean, um, who knows what
yeah,
might catch your eye, right?
yeah. But
But
anyways,
that's great.
that's just my way of saying thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're all getting something out of this. Because well, I guess maybe a little comment by way of wrapping things up is, and certainly I don't think this is the case with Samantha or any of the other non-philosophers, but philosophy does get misunderstood by other people, right? They think we're talking about whether trees make sounds when they fall down in the forest and stuff like that, right? We're not exactly concerned with that. We're interested rather in asking fundamental questions about anything and everything. So, no matter your interests, there's probably a philosophy of that interest. And I really hope that, especially if this is your first philosophy course, that you pursue some of those interests, like some of you have been doing. I mean, some of you are philosophy majors, and that's great. But if you're not a philosophy major, don't be afraid to dive into some other cool area. It doesn't have to be philosophy of mind. It could be philosophy of anything, because philosophy these days is, we've got a bunch of philosophies of, and that's kind of just how the discipline is now. Um, so that's all I can think of. Other than just saying again, this was a great class. It's hard teaching in the summer. I imagine it's hard being a student in the summer too. But you guys made this easy by being here and actively participating all the time, by getting really great discussion going. And I want to wish you all the best for your final essays and for your future studies if you still have some studies ahead of you, and all the best in life in case I don't run into you again. And that aside, again, I'm keeping that open door policy over the exam period. So if there are any questions or concerns about anything at all, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Oh my goodness, this is supposed to be a 3 hour class and we've only gone for half an hour. But I don't know, we finished the textbook, so I feel good about stopping here if you do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't got anything else to ask either.
Okay.
Yeah, no, again, like Samantha, and I think at least a couple of the people here, I'm an engineer taking this as my CSE for um for this for this coming year. So this again, this was my first experience ever taking a philosophy course, and I gotta say it's been a really great one.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's
I'm really happy to hear that.
yeah, no, I just like I have a couple of cousins who are very much into philosophy, like, but and I was always like, how on earth do you get into this world? And I'm just like, yeah, no, this was good. I have had a great time.
Great.
I'm simultaneous. I'm looking forward to applying what I know about computers to my essay as well. So that might be a lot of fun.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm really glad that you got something out of this, and that's great. And same with thanks all to, everyone in the chat saying the same thing. Leo, Liam, Josh. Yeah, I've got a lot of engineers. I feel like the engineers have been some of the more regular attendees. The engineers, the computer science people. So yeah, it sucks when good things end. But you know what? It's a little bit of a break for me, and then I've got to head into the fall when I'm teaching 3 courses. So I teach a lot. I'm a busy teacher, um, but I think I'm going to try and get a little rest and relaxation in the interim, and you all should too. Frankly, you've earned it. So I know you still got the essay to complete. I still have the essays to mark along with the reflection assignments. Um, but I'm definitely going to give myself a day or two to breathe. And I think you all should do that as well once you're done your reflection assignments. And before I go, I also just want to reiterate, how thankful I am for our TAs, Ron and Shafia. They've been doing a really great job, um, both working really hard. It's hard to teach a class in the summer. It's hard to be a student. It's hard to be a TA too, just because everything is so compressed. But they've done a good job. You've done a good job, and I hope I did a good job teaching you everything. I think I did, but I'm always hypercritical of myself. But I can tell you, you guys were an excellent bunch, and I'm so happy to have a great bunch of students like you. So with that said, I think it's time for me to begin having a bit of a breather before I begin marking your stuff that you're submitting tonight, your reflection assignments. So thanks a lot. Um, it's been a blast, everyone, and best of luck in whatever your future endeavors may end up being. Um, and I look forward to your essays and your reflection assignments. And of course, I'll hang around here after ending the meeting to speak with you, Holly. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, have a good rest of your summer, Josh, and the rest of you. Yeah, thanks, May. Samantha, thank you all. Samuel, so glad you guys showed up. Um, all right. Signing off.